Bienvenue, welcome once again to another Sally Inkster Find Brand You show. Of course, as ever, I have the inimitable, incomparable Sally Inkster in the virtual studio, where she talks often about personal branding and how it's more than just a logo. She focuses on different aspects of your personal brand, what the very essence of which should come through everything you do. But today's topic is an interesting one. Let's take the lowdown on strengths. Are they always good? What do you mean by that?
Okay, so for me, personal brand is all about self-awareness, and people have to understand who they are. Now, we've known ourselves for, well, you and I have known ourselves for a long time, and so we feel we do know what makes us tick. But sometimes we don't define it enough, and learning what your strengths are is useful whether you are a business owner, whether you have a career, or whether you're just living life. Knowing what you're good at is really important for being happy, not being stressed, not tiring yourself out, and getting to your full potential. If you don't really understand what your strengths are and what they're defined as, because there's strengths that are made from skills and strengths that are made from talents. And they are a very, very different thing. But when we're working in our strengths, they can also have a negative effect. So that's what we're going to delve into today.
All right, well, lead me into it gently because I'm a little bit confused. And this is where I usually start Sally Inkster sessions with a note of confusion on my face. And by the end of it, I'm usually understanding a bit more clearly. So talk me through it, please.
Okay. So if I said to you, what are your 3 top strengths? What would you say to me, Gareth?
Some people see them as a weakness. I would say obsession, consistency, doggedness.
I think obsessiveness and doggedness are very, very similar.
Oh, okay. Good hats. I know. Willing to ask the difficult questions.
Willing to ask the difficult questions. So do you think that's curious? Because
no, it's having no filter and not having that desperate need to make the nasty word nice. So instead of saying, "Do you think that's really suitable for you?" It's don't you think you're too fat to wear that? Do you see what I mean?
Yes. What was the first one you said to me? Was it being
obsessiveness?
Obsessiveness. Okay.
So I throw myself into something so much that for a while it becomes my absolute single point of focus, which means I notice all the bits, not just the central bit.
Yeah, you get hyper focused on it. Okay, well, let's take that as a strength. And lots of people would say obsessiveness can actually be quite a weakness, as you said, a negativity.
Absolutely.
And for you, it's a strength.
Absolutely.
Now, is it a strength that you were born with? When you were 3, were you obsessive about things?
Yes.
Okay. So it's part of your personality and it is a strength and that you've worked on. So how I explain to people is when we are given a talent that we're born with, it's like having a muscle in your arm, so your bicep or your tricep. And what happens, that muscle is there. And then you go out and you go, I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to make that muscle bigger by doing some exercises. And those exercises are a skill that you learn how to do. But the end result is that muscle that you were given gets bigger. And that's the same as a talent. We get a talent that we are given. We go out, we learn some skills, how to make it bigger. Does that follow?
Yes, you can have the basis of being a good actor, for instance, but it takes a little bit of exercise to turn yourself into a fully fledged actor, for instance.
Exactly. But then there's the other side of strengths, which is a skill-based one, where you have decided you need to learn, let's say in my case, how to use technology. Okay.
Right.
Now, I really wasn't given any sort of particular talent in that direction. So it's a little bit like having a muscle in my little finger. Okay. And so over the years, I've been out and I've had some skills. I've learned some skills, okay, around technology. But it doesn't matter how hard I try, that little finger muscle is never going to grow as big as that one. Okay. And this finger muscle is always going to get tired. So we can do it for a long time and we're very good at it. And people go, oh, you're brilliant at doing this. Carry on doing it. But this gets tired really easily. Whereas this takes a lot more to tire it out.
Right.
Yeah?
Yeah. I'm with you so far.
Okay. So when we're talking about strengths, we talk about strengths that are based in our talents or strengths that are based in our skills. And what people do is when you say to them, what are your strengths? They go, oh my goodness. And they think of things. What they're not doing is really understanding how those strengths come about. And if you can know that, I know I'm creative. Okay. And I can spend all day, not artistic, two different things, but I can be creative. And you can put me in a conversation or a room where it is, you're trying to make ideas, bring ideas to the table. I can do that day in, day out and never get tired of it. But I'm also very good at other things, but they're not a talent of mine. They're just something I'm quite good at. And so I can get tired of doing that if I do it too often. And when you're looking at having a career or working as a business owner, it's really sensible to think, this is the business I'm going to do. Is it based in my talents or is it only based in my skill set? And if so, if it's based in my talents, great. If it's based in my skill set, I have to watch that I'm not overdoing this because I'm going to tire myself out much quicker. And then when our talent is, or our strength is in a talent, there is something called it being in overdrive. So your obsessiveness is a great talent, as you say, but can you imagine when it goes wrong, what it's like?
It has gone wrong many times.
Yes, because we just do it instinctively too much and too much and too much.
Yeah, it just go too far down, and sometimes I have a difficulty of knowing when to stop.
Yes, and again, if you're not aware that that is a talent that you have, that you've built into a strength, but actually it can be stressful for other people.
Yeah, I know this.
Okay. And
I'm painfully self-aware.
Yes. Okay. Some people aren't. It's like, I'm talking to you. If I was talking to 100 people in the room, I'd be talking very much the same as I am now. I always assumed that everybody could do that because it's never bothered me. I've never had to learn how to do it. I could just talk to a group of people without getting too distressed about it. And it wasn't until people started coming to say to me, how do you do it? What do you do? And I'm thinking, I don't know. But I also know that I can do that in overdrive. I can just keep talking and talking and talking and talking. And I have to remember, actually, Sally, other people have got to talk and you've got to shut up and you have to listen. So again, it's about self-awareness, but it is having the ability to understand what your strengths are and how you can use them to your advantage, and then understand how they can work against you.
It's sometimes that I know that I see a thing, I see somebody talking about a thing, and I know I know innately how to shorthand that like that.
Yeah.
And I have to hold myself back and let them do it, because to let them have ownership of their issue and their problem. And my obsessive side of me says, no, push them to one side and get it done. because you can do it, and that's what you do.
Yeah.
So and all I can say to anybody out there who reconciles that, because there'll be plenty of you out there, whether you admit it publicly or not, is it's over age. It's just age, isn't it? An experience that it takes a while.
Yeah, it does take a while, but you can, like you said, it's teaching people to be able to shortcut that, because getting that self-awareness is huge. And it's one of those things you can maybe go on a day and learn about your strengths. And then 3 weeks later, you've forgotten what that training day was about. And so it is really useful to stick those strengths up on a wall, so that when you're going, oh, God, I don't know what to do about this problem. I don't know what to do about this weakness I have. I don't understand. I don't know how to move forward.
Right.
You can look up at your board and it says, Sally, Gareth, these are your strengths. Work out how you can use that strength to get around the problem you're having.
Right.
And that works all the way through life, because I am rubbish at languages. I mean, I find it hard enough to speak and understand English. I have tried for 30 years to speak French, still a huge problem. I've been doing Duolingo for 268 days for Spanish, and unless somebody speaks to me very slowly and they have a bubble coming out of their head of what they're saying, I honestly don't think I know any more Spanish words than I did 260 days ago. So that is one of my weaknesses. But I can look now. I know that I'm quite facially expressive, and I use my hands a lot, and I'm very creative, that I know I can explain to somebody anywhere in the world what I want them to understand, because I can body language why I can act what I want to do. So I know that's how I get myself through situations when I'm abroad and I haven't got some other person who's brilliant at speaking that language. Does that make sense?
It does. It still irritates me, because I see myself doing these things, and I keep saying to myself, do you know, if you relaxed a bit, you'd probably get a lot further. But anyway, yes, I totally reconcile with that.
Okay. So strengths, I think, are something that you have to know. And quite often when I'm having a conversation with somebody, just getting to know them, I'll say to them, oh, just tell me your strengths, because when you're getting to know somebody, especially in a business situation, you want to be able to recommend them, don't you?
Yes.
And the easiest way to recommend somebody, if somebody's looking for a website designer, let's say, and I say, look, this girl will be perfect for you. I said, she is so creative, but I said the biggest thing about her is that she thinks completely out of the box, because she doesn't think like you and I. And so her thinking out of the box. So that is a great testimonial, but an understanding on how you can get somebody to go, yes, I need to speak to that person.
Right.
But there may be another person I go, look, this website designer is so good because she just listens, and she's very quiet, but she's quietly listening. And from that, she can work out what you need. And you judge, what one person would like, so that when you're introducing people, you can say, you'll like her because of this. And you can name your strengths. But invariably, when I ask people in a conversation, they sort of go, and they haven't got anything that comes to mind immediately. And then they go, oh, I'm empathetic, or, I'm sympathetic. And you go, okay, but what else? Because quite often we've got about 10 strengths, or 10 top strengths that you can name. But it's good to define it down to those top 3, really.
Well, they're the ones I use. I mean, the doggedness and but the other thing is, I don't suffer from imposter syndrome, and which seems to be the common thing that everybody around me seems to talk about having. Oh, I'm feeling very impostery today. I shouldn't really be here. And why? You're good at that, so why wouldn't you be here? I think if more people could see what they're good at, and focus on that rather than all the terrible things that they're bad at, I think they'd probably do a lot better.
Exactly. It's a bit like sometimes, when you're in a career, people say, well, you're not really good at this, so we're going to send you off to just train this, do this, and until you get good at it. And you go, okay. But the trouble is that little finger can never get as strong as your tricep, bicep. Yeah. And so working to improve your weaknesses is sort of a little bit of a waste of time. It's better to work on your strengths and use your strengths to prop up your weaknesses.
Yeah, I've always said I'd rather spend a lot of time developing what I'm already okay at to being what I'm brilliant at, rather than what I'm absolutely terrible at to be barely passable.
Exactly. And I think for business owners, then also, what you need to outsource, because as business owners, we can't do it all. And we're not meant to do it all. So you've got to learn the bit you are good at and, find a way to get the rest of it outsourced. Really. And I think, strength training should be taught in schools before
Yeah.
people decide on their careers.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it should be an important part of the curriculum.
Yeah.
Once again, it just falls to me to say thank you so much, Sally. Every day a learning day when you're part of the Inkster crew. But no, it's so true. Actually, I hadn't thought of it that way before. I hadn't thought of it that way before. We're taught to find our weaknesses and just focus on them, when really what we should be also doing is magnifying our strength.
Absolutely.
Quite right. If you've enjoyed this, as I have, do please follow us along. We tend to be here every week talking about different aspects, often related to personal branding, but also related to self. And what I'm very pleased to say is that you've managed to join forces recently with someone, have you not? And you've got this show up and stand out and feel fab in midlife event on October the 1st with Philippa Taylor. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, we just know as girls and ladies of a certain age, or anybody of a certain age, you begin to feel a little tired and things don't work quite as well as they would. And how do you keep that vroom, vroom going? And, are the ways. And she looks at it from a very physical point of view, and I look at it from a very different point
I
of
think
view.
you'll find it's pronounced vavavoom.
Vavavoom, that's the... It is early. It's still, well, it's lunchtime, isn't it? We haven't had lunch yet.
Je ne sais quoi. No, absolutely. So, ladies and perhaps gentlemen, I
Yep.
would recommend watching out for that. Look at Sally Inkster's feed. You'll see posts be going out for that. There'll be we're also going to put in an event on LinkedIn. I think we'll put it in today, actually.
Okay.
And so please check it out on that. I'll be promoting it myself. Watch out there. I think it's going to be enjoyable. Two people who are very positive, wanting to help you feel positive too. Until then, I wish you all to keep your feet on the ground, keep reaching for the stars and the moon and all that good stuff, and watch out for that mental health. Wonderful, and have a great weekend. Bye-bye now.
Okay, bye.